So, homework. It's the reason we all stress out, and we waste a lot of time on it. So, why are we doing homework in the first place? So we do homework because, maybe we want to practice what we learned in class, we need to memorize some stuff, or we just really don't want our grade to drop. And that last reason should not be a reason that we should be doing homework. You ready? Scary story moment. Ready? 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 Ew! Calculus! Gross! Okay, wait, there's more. There's more. Ew! Physics! No fun! But really though, homework stresses a lot of people out, and a lot of people end up procrastinating homework. So one of my big things that bothers me about homework is it's such a time consumer. And when you don't have a lot of time in your day, it becomes a really stressful object. And we spend a lot of time in school already. Like, we spend 8 hours in school. Do we really need to come home every night and spend an extra hour to 2 hours minimum on homework? And even more sometimes for kids who are taking AP classes. I don't see how that's fair. For example, I do volleyball for the school, right? And that's 5 days a week. And practice doesn't end until 6. But this week I have 3 games. That means I won't get home until at least 9, probably 10 for every game, for 3 days out of the whole week. And for teachers to assign me a lot of homework, it's ridiculous because if I don't get home till 9 or 10, and they're asking me to do an hour of homework each night, it's not fair to the student. Another thing is, why do teachers assign homework when they know they're not going to grade it for correctness? I mean, if it's literally just busy work to give the students something to do, don't waste the students' time. Don't waste your own time. Everyone is happier. I took BC Calculus last year, and my homework grade was probably a D. I think it ended up being a 68% in total last year. But when I took the test, the AP test, I got a 5 on it. And so why was it that I didn't do any homework but I still succeeded in the class? And I'm not necessarily blaming the teachers for this because society has come to the fact that homework is a wasteful time consumer and it is better for some students to procrastinate with it or just to flat out not do it. And it shows in our grades, unfortunately. But when you look at, say, some kids' test grades versus their homework grades, you see kids who get excellent scores on tests, but then they come down and you look at the homework grade and it's down here. And so you average out to just about average. And that's not how society should be. If they know the subject and they test well on the subject, then they shouldn't have to be put with that extra stress of having to show that they know the subject at home. I know kids who get C's and D's in classes but are incredibly smart. And it's not fair that they're not getting properly represented because they're being brought down by things like over amounts of homework. And especially because in today's society, our grades are valued at such a high level. I mean, our GPA is required to be reported on practically everything for applying to jobs, for applying to colleges. And it's really hard to generalize the student as a whole because each student is different and each student requires a different way of learning. There's a school, I'm not sure what school or where it is particularly, but it switched its class structure around and it has kids learn the lessons at home and then practice them in class, and that is a useful form of homework. And I'm not saying abolish homework completely, I'm saying maybe just lighten the load a bit. And I get that some subjects require a lot of practice. I mean, Mr. Taylor changed his class to 50-50 instead of 80-20 because it is a skill that requires a lot of practice. But that doesn't necessarily mean all subjects are practice skills. And if I want more practice, I think it should be the student's responsibility to seek out more practice rather than the teacher's responsibility to assign more practice to those who don't necessarily need it. There's also this really neat thing. I'm taking Calc 3 online and, we have X amount of problems that we have to turn in for homework. But the teacher also lists the same amount of problems, but they're optional, meaning that if you feel like you're not getting the concept, you have more problems that you're able to do. You haven't already done all the homework. And so for kids who do need to practice, who do need that extra bit to do at home, they have that option. But then for kids who don't necessarily, they're not put the stress on their shoulders of doing all those problems. They only have to do this amount, only so that the teacher knows they're understanding it and that they do get that little bit of practice to permanently put it in your brain. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that if teachers are going to assign homework, then they need to make it useful for the student's time. They need to make the student need to do it or want to do it.